The writer of Hebrews in chapter 8 begins to make a distinction between the old and the new covenant. Look at verse 6. Hebrews 8, 6, 7, and 8, PJ.
But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises.
Next verse.
For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second.
Next verse.
For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
So he began to make a distinction between the old covenant and the new covenant. He talked about better. We have a better covenant. Better had to do with comparison of old and new covenants. It's not good, better, best. Better means eternal. Eternal. So what we have is eternal. Okay? Now, please, this is very important. The old covenant did not have fault, but the old covenant found fault with people for finding fault with them. So the old covenant was a fault-finding covenant. That is why it is in the old covenant you will see how that David was promiscuous. You will see how that Samson was sleeping all over the place. You will see the failures of Abraham. You will see the mistakes of Moses, all well documented. You will see the harlotry and the prostitution of Rahab and the details of it in the old covenant, because the mission of the old covenant was to find fault and defeat man morally, so that man will see how bankrupt he is and look forward to the coming of the Messiah. That is the spirit of the old covenant. To find fault. It didn't have fault, but it was a fault finder. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant. I will make a new covenant. So the old covenant and the 10 commandments were a declaration of God's righteousness, which no man could attain unto. They were a declaration of God's standard, which no man could meet. But the new covenant will not find fault. The new covenant will not find fault because of the sacrifice of Jesus. The old covenant was a fault finder, but the new covenant will not find fault. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 11 and 12, PJ. Hebrews chapter 8 verse 11 and 12. Hebrews 8, 11 and 12.
And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest.
Next verse.
For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more.
In the new covenant, I will not remember sins. There will be no record of sins. In the old covenant, there will be a record of sins, because the old covenant is a fault finder. Is in the old covenant, you will see how Samson was sleeping all over the place, and how that he was shaved on the laps of Delilah. But when you come to the new covenant, there's no mention of Delilah. The name Delilah did not appear in the new covenant. Instead of the failures of Samson, we saw the exploits of Samson. By faith, Samson, an elder who through faith obtained good report. Instead of the prostitution of Rahab, we see the exploits of Rahab. By faith, Rahab, the prostitute. Another Rahab. No, is that one. An elder who through faith obtained a good report. Teaching good. Because the new covenant has no faults. Oh, the blood of Jesus, it washes white as snow. Look at the Chronicles. By faith Abel, by faith Noah, by faith Enoch, by faith Abraham, by faith Sarah, by faith Moses. In fact, look at that Hebrews chapter 11. There's something intriguing there. Hebrews chapter 11 verse number 27. Hebrews 11:27. If I start from 25.
Choosing rather to...
Hold on, baby. Start 24. 23, actually. 23.
By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment.
Next verse.
By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
Why? PJ. PJ. Why?
Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season.
Hold on. Let's calm down first. By faith, Moses. I can close this service now. How many of you remember that Moses killed somebody? You all remember that? Dug the ground, and buried him. How many of you remember that? Where did you see that? Because the old covenant is a fault-finding covenant. Dug the ground and buried this guy. The next day there was another fight and Moses got involved. Moses must have been a street guy, man. There was another fight. Moses is always where there is fighting. He came in again to fight, and then somebody said to him, "Sure, you know what you did yesterday?" Moses thought he did a clean job. He said, "So you want to do what you did yesterday to me?" Moses now knew that this is not a clean job. So what did Moses do? He took off, escaped for his life. That's the way it is written in the book of Exodus. That's the way it's written in the Old Testament. Now, the writer of Hebrews is giving us a chronicle of the men of faith in the Old Testament, how the New Testament views them, their record before God. So he begins with Moses and he says, put it up again. Moses, by faith, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Why? Look at how the New Testament interprets that running away. The New Testament says he chose rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Next verse. Esteeming that Moses, the reason why he left Egypt was because he was esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. That Moses had respect unto the recompense of the reward. So because of faith was too much in Moses, he forsook Egypt. Oh, the blood of Jesus. It washes white as snow. He forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured, seeing him who is invisible. That Moses left the comfort of Egypt and went out of Egypt to suffer because he saw Christ. Not because he killed somebody. Because he saw him who is invisible. Next verse. PJ.
Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them.
Next verse.
By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians are saying to do were drowned.
Next verse.
By faith the walls of Jericho fell
Hold
down.
on. Something is missing. Something is missing. Between verse 29 and 30, something is missing. Look at verse 29 again. Pay attention. Now I need your thinking caps on. Pay attention. By faith, they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians are saying to do were drowned. The moment that stopped, the next thing you will see in verse 30 is by faith, the walls of Jericho. 40 years missing. From after the Red Sea till the walls of Jericho, 40 years in Kadesh Barnea missing. Because those 40 years were 40 years of unbelief, so they are not recorded. The next thing that will be recorded is an exploit of faith. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down. No record of wrongs, no record of unbelief, no record of faults, no record of mistakes. Why? All the blood of Jesus. It washes white as snow. I'm teaching good tonight. It's not in the record.